So, I've been thinking about this idea of like the hierarchy of the body. This is a concept that is very famous within certain alchemical and occult and metaphysical schools of thought, and that is the idea that the structure of the body is basically a reflection of the structure of some sort of cosmic hierarchy of consciousness, where head is headvin, it's the dome, it's the pleroma in which the illuminated consciousness dwells. Heart and earth are anagrams for each other, and then heel is hell. And so this is interesting to think about. It's like this sort of almost Jacob's ladder principle of the spine being this channel for consciousness as it descends and ascends throughout the planes of existence. And I think that this is very interesting on like a sort of spiritual philosophical level. But I want to talk about something far more literal and something far more visceral. It seems the more one analyzes, or not even analyzes, but spends time in nature, spends time in their own mind, pondering the nature of reality, pondering the cosmos, it becomes very clear, very evident that the universe is alive, through and through. But I want to take this one step further. I have come to understand that the universe, as we know it, is the body of some kind of cosmic being, a deity of sorts, but not in the way that we understand, not in a humanoid sense. Well, maybe in some humanoid sense, in terms of we are sort of fractals of it, but definitely not human, far beyond human. So I want to talk a little bit about, and I don't have a plan for this, I kind of just want to like improvise and like free verse this. Also, don't mind the loud traffic. If you can hear me, that's all that matters. So I'm thinking about this holonic fractal nature of biology, the way that every organism is an ecosystem and every ecosystem is an organism. Like, life comprises life on sort of this holonic, fractal, enveloping, permutative scale hierarchy, or holarchy maybe is a better word, because it's not like stacked, it's enveloping. So what do I mean by this? So you have like cells, and then cells are wholes, but they're also parts and comprise the body. And then you have the body, which is an isolated organism, but it also is in and of itself a cell in the larger ecosystem. And it seems that this sort of what's the word for this? I mean, it is a holarchy, but there's maybe a better way of understanding it. It's almost like every level of organization emerges into, it is emergence essentially. Every level of organization creates a new whole, which can be a part in a larger structure. It's been sort of shown that the structure of the web of galaxies bears a close resemblance to the structure of our brains, of our neurons. And it is sort of this as above, so below fractal geometry that permeates across all of the natural world that seems to indicate this self-similar, self-replicating nature of life, of the living, breathing matter of the universe. And so, this is represented pretty much everywhere. The branching structure of tree branches, of our veins, of roots, of vines, these natural branching motifs, that is, in a sense, a representation of this splitting off and isolating into these smaller, more fine, more isolated aspects of this greater organism. And that's also represented in like the evolutionary tree of life and the family tree. The family tree and the evolutionary tree are like part of the same tree. That's kind of what I'm getting at. This is all part of the same tree. Like any single branch or any tree that you look at, the family tree, that is just a branch on the larger evolutionary tree, which is itself just a branch on the larger cosmic tree. And I think this is where we get these sort of, religious images of things like the tree of life, Yggdrasil. I can't really think of other examples off the top of my head, but these ideas of like everything is part of a tree, this massive, unfathomably massive cosmic tree. That's what we're all a part of. We are cells in this unfathomably vast cosmic superorganism. And it's fractal. It's a fractal organism. That's why the structure of the cosmos is represented within our own physiology. It's because it's literally one and the same. Everything is a mirror of a higher order, and all higher orders are mirrors of lower orders as well. It's like a stacked genome, almost like a program of sorts that encodes this fractal holonic growth pattern that permutates and evolves into all of these different lesser and greater iterations of itself in a fractal manner. That's why nature is completely self-similar across scale. That's why when you peer into any organism, you see that it's comprised of smaller organisms, and when you zoom out of any organism, you see that it comprises a larger organism as well. And I think that this is both super amazing to think about and recognize that we are a part of this cosmic living God of sorts. I mean, God is such a charged word, and I think that God is too spiritual. It's not grounded enough in the physicality of reality. It's not grounded enough in like the meat. And that's what I'm trying to convey here. I don't think God is like some guy with a beard who's like glowing light. I mean, if that image works for you, then that's beautiful. But what I'm talking about here is something Lovecraftian, something so huge, something so gargantuan and alive. That is the defining trait of it. It is alive. It is organic. It is evolving. It is changing. It is dynamic. It is just completely saturated with this effulgent, living essence, this amarita, this quintessence, this primordial substance that comprises everything, and that just fills every meridian of this universe, as the stars do the void of outer space. And this being that I picture is made of stardust. It carries galaxies in its belly. It has eyes like black holes swallowing neutron stars, like just this totally cosmic thing that we're all a part of. It is spectral. That's why we see these prismatic motifs all throughout nature. It is vibrational. It is something so complex, but also so basic, in the sense of it couldn't really be any other way. It's natural, right? It's like this natural unfolding of the basic primordial conditions that give rise to the universe. It is like this thing that is birthed out of the most basic circumstances, and it happens to be the most amazing, intricate, living being that we are all a part of. And so this concept, I think, is both immensely stimulating on sort of a intellectual and also just like curiosity level, intrigue. It's very intriguing. It's very, that gives you a lot to chew on. But it's also, I think, very beneficial, tangibly, because it allows us to recognize the living nature of nature. It will deepen your sense of empathy and reverence for people and the world around you, because it allows you to realize and see that everything is alive, and that what it means to be alive is more profound than pretty much anything that anyone could like write in a book. What it means to be alive is this paradox of a seed that contains a tree that is constantly birthing itself into like a higher order of organization that allows for more reflective introspection, that allows for more nuance in its own understanding of itself and how it can relate to itself through all of its various permutations. It allows us to see that nature is not something we can exploit. It's something that is like literally connected to us, and that we are connected to and dependent on. There's no separation. There's no me and nature. It's all one. It's all part of the same superorganism. And that, I think, being able to see that, I mean, obviously we need that right now. We need this perspective right now if we are to repair and heal the trauma that has been done to our planet. And that is by recognizing that it is trauma that we have done to ourselves. There is no other. We are all one. We are all mirrors of something that can't even be named, that is so endless, so infinite. Yeah, I don't know like really what else to say. I feel like I've kind of said it all, but yeah, I think that that's a perspective that is valuable and that is needed right now. So just remember, the universe is an animal. I like that. Yes, that's it. The universe is an animal, right? Because a living thing is too like abstract. The universe is an animal. That grounds it. Do you understand what I mean? Like, a god, like, it is a god. It is this deity-like thing, in terms of like how powerful it is and how vast its consciousness is. But I feel like that almost like distances us from the truth of it, because it's like we don't even understand what that means. But as earthlings, as living biological beings, we know what it means to be an animal. And I don't know about you, but I freaking love animals, and I love I just love the way they look. I love the textures. I love the sounds. I love the colors. All of it. And I know that if I could like step back, if I could zoom out all the way, my consciousness completely zoom out and see the universe for what it is in its entirety, if that's even possible, because it's probably infinite. But if that were possible, I know that it would be everything I love about animals dialed up to 1,000,000, dialed up to infinity. The textures, the colors, the sounds, the aliveness of it, the relatedness of it, being able to look into an animal's eyes and see, in a way, yourself or your own essence reflected back at you through this different lens. But yeah, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I could just talk about this for forever, because it's like it's so rich, it's so stimulating, as I said, and validating. It's validating on like a deep, personal, but also transpersonal and deeply human, but also deeply cosmic level. And I think that this is a time in history, in Western history, because I mean, indigenous cultures have known this forever. It's just taking us a bit to catch up. But I think that that's a very beautiful renaissance of this knowledge, because I mean, Western culture, it's an offshoot of the human mind, which, you know, it's, again, it all stems from the same source, right? Everything is branches on the same tree. So we're remembering that, and I think that that offers the opportunity for something so amazing, this truly historic revolution of consciousness, of how we relate to the world and to each other, by understanding that we're all connected, and not understanding it exclusively in a way that is intuitive and psychic and spiritual, but in a way that is empirical, in a way that is grounded in direct observation, in a way that is undeniably real, in the most literal sense, in the way that I look at my hand and I see that this is real, in a way that Newton would approve of. And that's happening now. That's happening through us. And I think what that also is it's the oh, this is where it gets very interesting. But I think realizing that comes with the coupled realization that not only are we part of this superorganism, but our own discovery of that is literally unfolding of the process that is taking place throughout all of it. Well, I don't know about that, but it is enacting a process that at its very most basic level is the process of this superorganism that we are a part of realizing its own nature as everything through us. And if there are aliens, I wouldn't be surprised if they're realizing this too. And so think about that. It's like, imagine if all of your cells realized that they were a part of you, all, you know, just turning on like little lights. This is like truly a great awakening, because it's not only our awakening, it's the awakening of the universe as the universe. And to get to be a part of that is the most, it's the most validating, it's the most special, it's the most beautiful thing that I think anyone could ever ask for. And that's the blessing. It really is sacred. Again, that's a charged word, but words exist for a reason, right? And that's what that is. There's no other word that is so apt for that. The universe as a living thing coming to realize its own awakening as itself through all of it, through us and through everything else. And this consciousness is the consciousness that we get to share. So I think I'll leave it at that and just allow you to recognize that and be on your way to continue to spread this awareness, this holistic synthesis, this new paradigm of consciousness and awareness that is ever present, that is not exclusively woo-woo and spiritual and this and that, but is something that you can observe, something that is real in the same sense that you literally come from a bloodline that is traceable back to primordial soup, and you're made of tiny organisms, and we are on a floating ball. So it's here, it's accessible. The infinite cosmic truth of life, of consciousness. But I like life, it's a better word. It's more, consciousness is so like intellectualized. Life is very real and visceral. And the closer we can get to that, the living essence of it, rather than sort of trivializing it, I think the better. Because that's what we are, ultimately. And that's how we come to understand, is not through rigid dogma, but through direct experience of the truth. And, I could make a whole video about this. Actually, I will. The new paradigm is living and holonic and fractal, and yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this, and just like continue to be radiant, continue to radiate this awareness so that others can catch fire and be illuminated, become illuminated beings, because that's what we're becoming collectively. And you have the power to do that. You have the power to awaken that spark within people, and that is literally turning the world on, turning the universe on, and we're awakening together. So I love you. Thank you for being a part of this cosmic symphony. Thank you for being you. Thank you for fulfilling this role that you have been given the opportunity to play. Thank you for scratching this cosmic itch just by being you. And yeah, continue to do that. Continue to be alive. Continue to be beautiful. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace. Love you.